the stage was set. I mean, we're talking about a blockbuster production, astronomical budget, and a director who is demanding absolute perfection.
Right.
And you have your A-list star standing there under these blinding hot lights, totally poised to execute this pivotal, really complex sequence.
A choreographed dance.
A choreographed dance. It needs, like, surgical focus, precise motor skills. But here's the thing. Her mind wasn't her own.
Not even close.
She was profoundly altered, suffering from this acute cognitive impairment. And she was trying to perform high-stakes physical comedy while, and this is the key part, literally hallucinating. The cameras flashed. The pressure was suffocating. And just like that, Hollywood had a crisis that would, well, it would later become legend. Ambien turned JLaw into this.
Whoa.
Welcome to StarScope Report. Our mission here is to take a whole stack of sources, the candid interviews, the expert medical reports, all the industry analysis, and pull out the most crucial nuggets of insight for you.
We dive deep into Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and those viral scandals.
Yeah, we get into the stories behind the fame. So you, our listener, are always ahead of the curve.
And today, we are really digging into Jennifer Lawrence's most infamous confessions.
2 of them.
Wow.
2 separate high-profile medication mix-ups on major film sets. And this story, it's really a critical lens into this unsustainable tension between being an A-lister and the pharmacological tightrope you have to walk just to stay functional.
And what's so fascinating here is getting to the root cause. It's chronic, life-altering sleep deprivation. It's just endemic to film production. Our sources all point to this.
Yeah, Lawrence herself and even Leonardo DiCaprio admitted that they are, and this is a quote, obsessive about sleep when we're working, like counting the hours.
Exactly. So when that grueling schedule makes natural rest impossible, what do? You turn to powerful pharmacological aids, sedatives to force sleep, stimulants to force wakefulness.
And that reliance, that chemical cycling, just introduces this massive risk.
Huge risk.
Okay, let's unpack this high-stakes pharmacology with the first major incident. And honestly, it sounds like something out of a very dark comedy.
It really does.
The morning mistake. JLaw's Ambien-fueled hallucination on the set of Catching Fire.
So you have this intense production, The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Lawrence just trying to manage this impossible fatigue.
She accidentally takes the wrong pill one morning. But why was that one mistake, just the timing of it, so catastrophic?
Well, it's because of the specific drug involved. Zolpidem.
Ambien.
Right, Ambien. It's strictly classified as a powerful central nervous system, a CNS depressant. Its whole job is to slow down your brain activity and make you fall asleep fast. And critically, its clinical indication is to be taken immediately before you get into bed. Its half-life is pretty short, which means the effects hit you really hard and really fast.
And she took it when?
In the morning. She thought it was, in her words, something else for daytime. So by taking a powerful sedative hours before her call time, she basically guaranteed that the drug's peak plasma concentration—
the point of maximum effect.
Exactly, that it would hit right when she was supposed to be performing. It's
Wow.
it's like trying to sprint a marathon at the exact moment the sleeping gas takes full effect.
And here's where the context is so important. She wasn't just sitting in a chair reading her lines. The source material is clear. She was scheduled for a physically complex dance scene.
With co-star Philip Seymour Hoffman.
With a legend. A physical scene that demanded precise motor control, spatial awareness, cognitive presence.
All functions that are just catastrophically destroyed by a potent CNS depressant peaking midday.
What did she say happened?
She said she was hallucinating.
Hallucinating is, that's so far beyond just being drowsy. That's a fundamental break from reality. Professionally, what does that even look like?
It often falls into a clinical category we call Zolpidem-induced parasomnia.
Okay, what's that?
Think of it this way. Your body is trying to do complex things like a dance sequence, but your mind is not fully present. It's not generating volitional control.
So you're awake, but not there.
You're technically awake, but your decision-making, your awareness, it's all profoundly impaired. It makes professional performance literally impossible, and more importantly, extremely dangerous.
And this is what moves it from just a funny story to, a severe crisis. But that wasn't even the end of the drama. The real problem was how her co-stars saw it. It exposed this huge unspoken rule on every Hollywood set. If you're finding these behind-the-scenes insights compelling, make sure you're subscribed. Because believe me, the story only gets more complex as we analyze the industry's secret code of silence.
Okay, so let's go back to that set, Catching Fire. What was the social fallout of a star having a drug-induced neurological event on the job.
Right. So segment 2. She got really annoyed. Elizabeth Banks and the on-set liability nightmare. Lawrence recalls that the disruption she caused made her veteran co-star, Elizabeth Banks, who played Effie Trinket, visibly agitated. She said Banks got really annoyed with her during the scene.
Which you can kind of understand if you don't have the context.
Exactly. Lawrence herself guessed that Banks probably just saw it as flagrant unprofessionalism. Because, as she said, Banks didn't know that I was on an Ambien.
And that interpretation on professionalism, that's just the surface layer. From an industry analyst's point of view, this was way more serious. It was a severe, high-consequence workplace safety hazard.
A liability.
A massive one. I mean, if you look at the literature on Zolpidem, the documented side effects include abnormal thinking and behavior and an increased risk of falls and injuries.
And she was dancing.
She was dancing and physically interacting with Philip Seymour Hoffman. If she had fallen and broken an arm, or, and this is the critical part, if she had injured Hoffman during a physical exchange while she was hallucinating,
The studio would be in massive trouble.
catastrophic financial and insurance protocol issues, absolutely.
It's interesting you mentioned the legal side. The comedian John Oliver, who actually has a background in serious reporting, heard this story and immediately warned her about the potential legal problems with the studio.
Of course he did. He saw it for what it was. The studio has a duty of care. And if they knew, or even should have known, that a lead actor was functionally impaired by a controlled substance during a physical scene, the negligence claims would be huge.
And what was her response?
She just laughed it off, saying the movies are done, which, you know, it means she got through it without disaster, but the danger in real time was profound for everyone.
But the truly fascinating part is what happened after. Banks knew something was up, and when she was later asked about Lawrence's craziest on-set moments, she refused to give details.
Right. She said, I could never repeat the craziest, and added that JLaw would get in a lot of trouble.
Which is bullshit.
That is the industry's code of silence in action. It's a masterful piece of reputation management.
So it wasn't just loyalty to a friend.
No, it protected Lawrence from deeper, potentially career-damaging scrutiny, and it safeguarded the professional image of the entire Hunger Games cast. You protect the product first.
But doesn't that just reinforce the whole destructive system? You protect the star from the consequences, so the industry never has to fix the schedule that caused the problem to begin with.
That is the core ethical dilemma, 100%. They managed the symptom, the fallout, by imposing silence, but they left the disease, the unsustainable labor practice, completely untouched. They turned a liability into a secret.
And we know this wasn't just a one-off thing. This chemical reliance was part of a larger, pretty alarming pattern, which brings us to our final segment. The mix-up went in the completely opposite direction.
Right.
The double dip. Ambien crash to Adderall. Panic the price of A-list fatigue.
So she disclosed a parallel mix-up. This was during the filming of the 2018 spy thriller, Red Sparrow.
So if the first mistake was taking a sedative during the day,
The second was taking a powerful stimulant at night when she was supposed to be sleeping.
Adderall.
That's right. She took Adderall, a potent central nervous system stimulant, instead of her sleeping pill. And the effects were a direct inverse of the Ambien incident.
So instead of being slow and confused.
She was hyper alert, intensely anxious, and panicking.
And this highlights a different kind of consequence, right?
Totally. On Ambien, her motor function failed, which led to the physical issues. On Adderall, she experienced functional linguistic failure.
What does that mean?
She said she was awake all night, taking hot showers, just panicking, and then had to go to set and deliver this highly specific, complex line in a Russian accent, no less.
What was the line?
Senate Armed Services Committee.
Oh, wow. Trying to say that with a foreign accent while battling a stimulant-induced panic attack. That sounds like a complete cognitive meltdown.
It is.
So what does this pattern, this cycling between a depressant and a stimulant, really tell us about the industry?
It tells us the physical demands have structurally exceeded human capacity. These two incidents aren't just random goof-ups. They underscore the systemic necessity for actors to chemically regulate their sleep and performance.
You mean they have to?
In many ways, yes. They use sedatives like Ambien to force rest when the schedule demands it, and stimulants like Adderall to force performance when they should be sleeping. It's the industry compelling its workers to chemically compensate for exhaustion.
And the high-risk medication errors are just an inevitable side effect of that cycle.
Exactly. It validates the need for a really rigorous investigation into how these labor practices compel actors to enforce this artificial, destructive workday.
Okay, so let's look at the strategy you used to handle all this. To turn this whole story from a liability into a professional asset. She first brought the Ambien story up herself, right?
Yeah, in 2016 on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, she framed it as a lighthearted true confessions game
Narrative control.
at its absolute finest. By proactively disclosing it in a humorous, high-visibility place, she seized control of the story before it could leak.
She turned a professional lapse performing, while hallucinating on a controlled substance, into a charming, relatable characteristic.
You have to admit, turning a clinical hazard into a charming anecdote about being a clumsy, relatable girl is cynical genius.
It really is. By owning the goof-up, she cultivated her public persona of authenticity and vulnerability. She basically turned potential criticism into professional capital.
She inoculated herself against any future, less controlled, and potentially more critical revelations.
If you want the deep truth behind celebrity headlines like this every single week, you should definitely make sure you're subscribed.
And while Lawrence, she successfully managed her own reputation here and turned the whole thing into a charismatic anecdote, the lighthearted media framing risks dangerously normalizing the misuse of these powerful, controlled substances.
Because the industry allows the job's demands to exceed human capacity.
Right. It's creating an environment where high personal risk is just the cost of entry.
Which leaves us with a final thought, and it's not just about the big stars.
No, it's about everyone else. I mean, Lawrence is an A-lister. She has a protective platform and narrative control. We have to consider how many other industry professionals, supporting cast, crucial crew members are also forced to chemically compensate for exhaustion just to keep their jobs.
But without the high-profile candid confession to protect them.
Exactly. The cost to their health and safety remains the unseen, profound danger of that relentless A-list schedule.
That is the essential question here, isn't it? The story isn't about a celebrity taking the wrong pill. It's about the system that constantly forces the pill into their hand. You've been listening to StarScope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.